Sometimes, I wonder what it is like to grow up in ancient times. That's why I chose to play Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. I mean, this game was released right about the same time that Louis XVI was executed. It would be nice if we could just return to those simpler times. Like this video if you also missed the French Revolution. Anyway, I load into a game and create a character. I want to be a good guy, so I chose the name Genghis Khan. I thought this was a good name because there is a historical figure that did a lot of good and had a very similar name. I mean, he single-handedly increased the world's population. That way we didn't all die in the Black Plague. What a great guy. I start the game and am greeted with this incredibly detailed cutscene. I really hope that I'm not on that ship. Unfortunately, I'm on that ship. And somehow, I was sleeping through a giant space battle and only woke up when the ship is nearly dead. This guy invades my privacy and barges into my room. At least he's kind enough and gives me a full lore breakdown and a backstory on what's been happening. What would we do without heroes like this? He then gave me a tutorial on how to play the game. This really breaks my immersion, but thankfully it doesn't last forever. Somehow we got locked out of our own ship, so I pick the lock and I see one of the most intense battle cutscenes maybe ever. It seems like the bad guys won, but luckily I'm there to deal out swift justice. We fight our way through the ship and encounter a dark Jedi. In a selfless act of kindness, my tutorial companion sacrifices himself to hold off the dark Jedi. It's really a shame that the good guys like him are the ones who lose their lives. This really says a lot about the unfairness of society. I make it to the escape pods and meet up with another crew member. There isn't a lot of space in the escape pod, so I can only assume that the ride down to the planet was very intimate. Sadly, our time together was cut short when we crashed into the planet below. This impact should have killed any normal man, but thankfully we're protagonists, so we were able to make it out just fine. It seems that I got knocked out when we crashed. Maybe an impact at the speed of sound is just a little bit much, even for main characters. I wake up and I'm introduced to Karth. It's kinda sad that he saved my life and shared an escape pod with me, but I still didn't remember his name. He tells me about the Jedi Ballista, who also took an escape pod and crashed on the planet. I didn't really care about that. I'm just here to see the world and have some fun. I'm not going to let all this war for the galaxy nonsense keep me from having a good time. I exit my apartment and step into the middle of a confrontation. It seems like the Sith are looking for anything illegal. One of the aliens asks why they need to do a search again, so the Sith officer kills him, just as any reasonable man would do. He sees Karth and I and assumes, just because we're living by aliens, that we're Republic fugitives. We have no choice but to kill him. A shame. He seemed like a very even-tempered and non-corrupt man. I walk around the building and break into my neighbors' apartments. I don't know why, but they get really upset about this. I was just trying to introduce myself to my new neighbors. I notice that some of them have lockboxes, so I take everything they have inside. Now you may be saying that I'm supposed to be the good guy, but good guys need to eat too. I exit the apartment building and look at the beautiful world and all its dozens of polygons. This is some really cutting edge technology. I entered the cantina and I learned about a game called Pazaak. By the time I was done playing, I had 0 credits left. I went further into the cantina and I met the big slug man. He had a legal dueling ring, so of course I have to fight in it. I won 2 battles and decided I better go help someone. After all, I'm supposed to be the good guy. I go and meet this doctor. I don't know who he thinks he's fooling with that drawn-on mustache, but it ain't me. He tells me about rat ghoul disease and wants me to find him the cure. So I guess I'll help him out. I leave the clinic and I come across 2 bounty hunters beating up an old man. So I killed them. And then I gave the old man the credits he needs to pay off the local crime lord. This really teaches us to be good with our money. Otherwise, the loaner will kill you over $50. I go into another apartment building looking to steal some more goods, but I find another guy who owes this crime lord money. I give him 200 credits because people need to know that I'm the good guy. That way, they don't care about my thievery. I see a guy who's getting interrogated by the Sith, so I give him a helping hand and paint his apartment blood tone red. He tells me how he's stealing Sith uniforms for a local gang. No wonder the Sith found him. So I take a play out of his book and steal one of the uniforms too. I leave the apartment and meet this old dude who's giving some spiel about a plague infecting the planet. I wonder if he's talking about the rat ghoul disease. But no, he's just racist. Even though this world is so advanced, they still have to deal with discrimination. That really says a lot about society. I call him crazy, and then go to the elevator so I can get to the lower city. It seems like only the Sith are allowed in the lower city, so I put on my disguise right in front of the guard, and he lets me through. The first thing I see when I enter this lower city is gang violence. This world gets more and more like ours every second. I go and raid some more apartments, because I don't discriminate. Doesn't matter if you're rich or poor, I'm still gonna rob you. And would you look at that? I found another cantina, and of course I'm gonna go in. I'm bound to find another Pazaak player, and I can't miss a chance to fuel my gambling addiction. After a couple games, I continue, and find out that Ballista was captured by one of the gangs. And they're offering her as a prize for winning the swoop bike race. This gang also stole a prototype swoop bike accelerator from the other gang, so I go and steal it back. I enter the swoop bike race, and even though I had never ridden a swoop bike before, I set the new record for the fastest time on the track. I won the race, so I should get Ballista as a prize, right? But the gang leader says, nuh-uh, so I killed him. I then had this crazy vision of Ballista fighting the Sith Lord Revan. I'm sure that's no big deal. After that, I was told that a Mandalorian wants to meet me in the cantina. So, of course, I go there straight away. Can't miss a chance to play another game of Pazaak. After a couple games, I meet the Mandalorian, and he tells me that he can help us get off the planet. All we need to do is break into a highly secure military base and steal some incredibly heavily guarded codes. Before I do that though, I had to do everything I possibly could on this planet. Gotta complete all the side quests, right? So I fought some more battles in the arena and became the terrorist dueling champion. I then fought a duel to the death with the previous champion, but it's okay. I was just getting the bounty that was placed on his head. Trust me, I'm the good guy here. I go and meet up with Mr. Sharpie Mustache and give him a serum for the rat ghoul disease. And then I instantly buy one back from him for only 50 credits. I go to the lower city and tie up a few loose ends. And, of course, can't miss out on playing a couple more games of Pazaak. I go to the Undercity and cure a couple people from the rat ghoul disease. I then meet this old man who tells stories of a promised land. He's been searching for over 100 years to find it, so naturally, I go and find the answer to its location in 5 minutes. Now that I completed all the side quests, I go to the Sith military base. We fight our way through the base, and we come across a dark Jedi. I think this is supposed to be some sort of boss fight, but he didn't even last 10 seconds against us. Now we have the codes to get off this planet, so I can go meet back up with the Mandalorian. I get one last game of Pazaak in before he takes us to the local crime lord's estate. While we're going there, the big bad Sith Lord Malix pulls an Adolf move and commands his ships to open fire on the entire planet. Nothing like casually committing mass genocide. My group and I fight our way through the crime lord's estate and steal his ship. We fly off the planet and get into a really intense space battle. No wonder they miss all the time in the movies, because these controls are horrible. I take out all the enemy craft and we make it out alive. But that's only the start. There's many more planets to explore. If you enjoyed this video, the like button is right down there. And if you want me to continue this game, the comments are right below that. And since you're down there, you might as well subscribe. And always remember, most gamblers quit right before they hit it big.